Alright, this is section 3.4, library of functions, and number 1, we want to draw a quick sketch of the equation. Now there's a couple of things that you want to be familiar with, so let me go to our course in Blackboard. If you go to videos and you go to chapter 2 videos, I have downloaded some parent function graphics offline, okay, and they're there. And these give you a general idea of what the parent functions look like. Okay, so here our first function is a square root function, except it has a 4 there. This is the basic. So you can kind of get a general idea of what the graph looks like. So that's one thing you can do, and there's several functions here that you want to be familiar with. I don't know why it looks so small. This new window. Maybe showing a bigger piece. There we go. But anyway, you have that, and then there's a couple of other things. So one, you have a graphing calculator. You can actually graph this function. So if I turn this calculator on and go to y equal, I'm going to do square root. It's in yellow above the x squared button, so I have to hit second. Once you do that, you'll see this upper arrow, meaning you're looking at the upper functions in that color. And then I hit the square root symbol. And then inside, I'm going to put 4x. 4x. And then we're going to graph. Okay, so you can see the image of the graph there. There's only one that matches, which is B. Now you can also do this by hand. So doing this by hand, I will still need a calculator, and we're going to make the table. It should match up with the table in our calculator. But what you would do, if you don't have a graphing calculator and you have to graph this, you can graph any function by doing this, by picking points. So we're going to pick values for x. Usually I would pick a couple negative and a couple positive, but I know square root cannot be negative. But you get to pick the x value. So I'm going to pick 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug a 0 here. I'm going to do square root of 4 times 0. That's going to give me the square root of 0, which is just 0. Okay, so the rest of them I'm going to plug in the calculator. So if you were to plug a 1 here, 4 times 1 is 4. So you have the square root of 4. And that would give you 2. So at 1 you get the order pair 2. When you plug in a 2, 4 times 2 you get 8. So let's see what the square root of 8 is. I'm going to do second quit. I'm going to use square root of 8. And that gives me about 2.8. I'm just going to round 2.8. If you plug a 3 there, 4 times 3 will give you 12. And square root of 12 gives us about 3.5, I'm going to say. And then 4 times 4 is 16. Square root of 4 will give you 4. So this one will give you 4. You make a table of points. You draw a x and y axis, and we're going to label 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do the same thing on the y axis. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to plot those points. So the first one we get is 0, 0. The next one we get is 1, 2. So I'm going to go over 1, up 2. And then 2, 2.8. 2, and then almost to 3, 3, 3.5, halfway between 3 and 4, and then 4, 4. And then from there, if you just trace that pattern, you get that same curve graph that we see. You can also see the table from a graphing calculator. If you hit second graph, you see the table. You can get those little point estimates that we use as well. So you got those 3 ways, but you just have to pick the graph that matches. In this case, it's B.